Welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today in this module we are going to talk about mining in India and its environmental impact. India is endowed with huge resources of many metallic and non-metallic minerals. Since independence in 1947, there has been a rapid growth in the mineral production both in terms of quantity and value. Currently India produces as many as 87 minerals which include 4 fuel, 10 metallic, 47 non-metallic, 3 atomic and 23 minor minerals including building and other materials. The mining activities are extremely poorly regulated. As early as 1948, the founding fathers of the Constitution realized the need for proper regulation. During the constitutional debate, they said, I quote, "Industrialization has brought in its wake an ever-increasing demand for mineral resources. These resources are non-replenishable and mostly scarce. Proper control over regulation and development of mines and minerals is therefore a matter of national concern." Unquote. Today, over 80,000 mines operate illegally as against nearly 10,000 legitimate leases. Only a third of the legal mines actually report to the Indian Bureau of Mines, the regulator, and only a tenth of them is inspected. The concerns of ecological damage and environmental impacts and the consequent effects on people are therefore receiving less attention than it deserves. The Ministry of Statistics and Plan Implementation states that, I quote, "Mining, unless properly regulated, can have adverse environmental and social consequences. On the other hand, mining disturbs the soil, water and ecological regimes, and on the other hand, unless accompanied by proactive measures to promote inclusiveness through social education, health and other interventions, it can lead to alienation of the local populations and assume socially unacceptable dimensions. Issues of technology for zero waste or low waste mining, relief and rehabilitation, mine closure, which otherwise leads to land degradation, are important issues which require continuous attention." Unquote. Typically, mining takes place either by digging through the surface or by digging under the surface and are called open cast mining and underground mining respectively. While underground mining does not show visible signatures of the destruction of land, but eventually the area is affected either because of subsidence of the area getting parched for not being able to retain the moisture. Thus, mining is one of the most destructive of human economic activities. Therefore, it is often called a surgery of Mother Earth to remove materials for human use. We will only highlight the biophysical impacts of mining in this module. Mining and its impact on land. Mining devours a large area of land. The total area under mining and abandoned after mining is exactly not known. The total land under mining is estimated to be greater than 1.30 million hectares. Land under coal mining and abandoned coal mines alone is around 0.36 million hectares. The impact of mining on land is not restricted to the mining leases alone. The amount of land affected depends on the topography, the quality of the mineral, and the depth at which the mineral is available. The amount of material to be removed before reaching the mineral is called overburden. More the overburden, more land is required for dumping this material. Coal occurs in layers called coal seam in between other sedimentary rocks such as sandstone and shale. Often several hundred meters of rocks are to be removed before reaching a coal seam, and after mining every seam, again the intervening rocks have to be removed. The proportion of coal to overburden can be as high as 1 to 5, but in general it is never below 1 to 2. This means that land is required to store the waste materials, which will be twice as much as the coal we mine and up to 5 times. This requires a large area of land as the dumping of these materials has to be scientific and in low angles that will not allow it to slide and affect adjoining areas. In several cases, this is over twice the area involved in mining. If the region of mining has an undulating topography with steep slopes, more area will be required for storing the overburden materials. The quality of mineral found also impacts the land area required. If we have a poor quality of mineral, the amount of material required to be mined will be higher. Again, if we look at the example of coal, most Indian coal deposits have 30 to 40% of non-coal material along with it. So when the coal is burnt in a thermal power plant to produce electricity, we are left with 30 to 40% of the material used as ash, we once again need more land to dump this ash. Over the lifetime of a thermal power plant, ash dumps require more land than the actual plant itself. The amount of materials mined for securing small quantities of metals is generally not understood by common people. For example, to get 1 ton of aluminum, nearly 6 tons of rock has to be mined. In case of precious metals, the ratios are staggering. A gold ring weighing 5 grams would have required mining of nearly 6 to 8 tons of rock. In case of diamond, it is still higher. It is for this reason that these metals are expensive. Uranium mining, for instance, requires almost 30 tons for a gram. This means that we require large land areas to place these waste materials. As we go into the future, many of our shallow deposits would have been used, and we would need to dig deeper and also use poorer quality of deposits to meet our needs. If we look at gold mining over the past, we find that in the last century, the amount of gold required for mining profitably has dropped significantly, and proportionately the amount of overburden and waste generated has increased many times over. The land area required is one aspect, but the quality and type of land being used for mining and dumping of overburden and waste adds another dimension to the impact on land. Mining alters the topography of the land, and along with the manner in which the overburden is dumped completely changes the initial contours. This has impact on the local slopes and alters the drainage pattern in the area. We will look at the impacts it has on water in a later section. If mining takes place in forested areas, agricultural lands and common lands of people, the impacts are not limited to just losing the land area. Mining and its impacts on forests and agricultural lands. It is estimated that over 1,64,000 hectares of forests have already been lost to mining activities. Considering the fact that in future we will be mining in the last of the original forests, the impact is going to be larger and far-reaching. The forests not only completely disappear because of mining, but with the initiation of mining in a densely forested area, the quality of the forest are also degraded. The forest cover density reduces, and because of the various activities going in the area, the forests are fragmented. The Bellary district in Karnataka, which has become infamous for its iron ore mining, has suffered severe loss of agricultural land in the last decade. Between 2005 to 2010, nearly 43,000 hectares of agricultural land was lost due to mining, including some irrigated lands. Dr. Patra Himanshu Shekhar and Sethi Kabir Mohant of Department of Geography of the Utkal University undertook a study to understand the impact on forests because of iron ore mining in Keonjhar through comparison of satellite images of 3 periods, 1990, 2000 and 2012. And they provided insights regarding the changes in land use patterns, especially in the forest land during these years. The results of land use or land cover assessment were based on visual interpretation from satellite data. The land coming under forest refers to land with a tree canopy cover of more than 10% and area of more than 0.5 hectares. Forests are determined both by the presence of trees and the absence of other predominant land uses within the notified forest boundaries. Forest was classified into 3 categories on the basis of crown density, viz. Dense, open and degraded. After observation of percentage analysis, it was found that maximum deforestation occurred in the vicinity of iron ore mining areas. The dense forests exhibits crown density of more than 40%. Periodic analysis of dense forest shows that it covered an area of 5,255.18 hectares, that is 16.17% of the total area during 1990, while during 2000 it was 3,123.67 hectares, that is 9.93% of the total area, and by 2012 it had been reduced to just 4.85% of the total area, that is 1,527.51 hectares. Dense forest shows a decrease of 40.56% in area during 1990 to 2000, while this decreased by 51.09% between 2000 to 2012. It has been found out that most of the iron ore mining activities are taking place in the vicinity of dense forests because most of the iron resources are located in the hilly terrain covered with the forest. Therefore, decrease in the area of dense forest is attributed to the removal of trees to initiate iron ore mining activities and development of mining infrastructure. Open forest exhibit crown density in between 40 to 10%. It is easily identified on FCC image by its light red pinkish color, smooth medium texture, contiguous to non-contiguous pattern with irregular outline. Open forest covered an area of 3,567.89 hectares, that is 11.34% of total study area in 1990, while in 2000 this was 5,673.44 hectares, that is 18.03% area, and in 2012 the study area was 20. Well, similarly, area under forest plantation category was found at 256.24 hectares, that is 0.81% of total area during 1990, which was reduced to 202 hectares only, that is 0.64% only in 2000, and further it got reduced to 179.17 hectares only, which is 0.56% merely. The land coming under land with shrub was in 1990 2,707.24 hectares, that is 8.60%. In 2000 it got increased to 3,808.63%, that is 12.10%, and in 2012 it got further increased to 18.47%, which is 5,810.32 hectares. This shows that it is not only the forest area that is lost for mining, but the quality of forests is deteriorated when mining activity begins in an area with dense forests. It is estimated that over 10,000 hectares of forests would have been affected so far by iron ore, chromite and manganese mining in Keonjhar district alone. Impact on water. The impacts of mining on water occur from small scale coring to deep underground mining, and in the new areas of coal bed methane extraction and proposed underground coal gasification. Mining and allied industries are major guzzlers of water and biggest destroyers of natural storage capacity, and the most important cause for deterioration of water quality. The future of water resources is seriously at stake. In an analysis of cross sections of 123 mining projects which are granted environment clearance by Ministry of Environment and Forest in 2007, a startling 136 million liters per day has been forfeited for mining that could serve the entire country for a day at the official rural norms of supply. If we were to extrapolate to all the mines in the country, water forfeited to mining operations each year would be at least a week's national actual consumption. Considering that this is only consumption for mining operations, if we calculate the needs for downstream beneficiaries and industries, and at the permanent loss of aquifer storage, natural drainage systems and water rendered unusable by downstream pollution, the damage is colossal. It is clear that intersection of water table by the mining industries must be considered seriously, as in several places the major resources lies beneath the water table. The breaching of the groundwater table must be subject to stricter regulation, as the very basis of survival of the local communities is sacrificed at this stage. Merely to say that the mine water is put to gainful use can lead to unsustainable management of the aquifer. While this may include several uses such as water supply to adjacent area, utilization for dust suppression by the industry, utilization by the mining industry for its different purposes, supplying to local communities, to water supply agencies, utilization for artificial recharge, etc., it will be tantamount to mining water. Water is used in coal mines for several functions, including washing, spraying, in tailing ponds, and for coal preparation. This can cause a conflict with other water users and environmental requirement. Mines can dewater groundwater aquifers some distance from shafts or pits, which reduce the water table in the area, adversely affecting other activities including agriculture. The major source of water pollution due to mining include pumped out mine water, spent water from coal handling plants, dust extraction and dust suppression systems, wash-offs from overburdened dumps, workshops and domestic effluents and effluents from washery, chronic leaks from waste dumps or direct disposal of waste in the water bodies result in severe pollution of ground and surface water. Water pollution can affect the area even after the closure of the mine if the pits are not filled properly. Water in contact with the leftover coal in the pits become toxic and unfit for any use. Also, runoff from abandoned waste dumps and pits becomes acidic, resulting in soil erosion and contamination in the water bodies. Several examples of such pervasive impacts are seen in coalfields of Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. In East Paraj, open cast coal mines operated by Coal India's Central Coalfields Limited, which had the distinction of receiving World Bank funds for environmental and social mitigation, the land which is used to be an agricultural land providing income and livelihood to people is now turned into a huge pile of dumps and pit holes. Such unkempt dumping without any proper topsoil conservation plan and regeneration action plan leads to greater devastation of surrounding areas. Along with destroying the scenic beauty of the area, these huge piles of dump are destroying the regeneration capacity of Paraj. The environmental management plan has a provision of providing guarding sump around the overburden dump so that any accumulation in this guarding sump can check waste or soil erosion from these dumps. In reality, CCL has not invested money or attention on this aspect. Mine waste collected during overburden removal is simply strewn and allowed to seep into the underground water aquifers. Since mining started in the region, malaria incidence has increased. Water resources in the region and wells provided to project affected persons in Pindra and Premnagar block are found to be highly contaminated and unhygienic for drinking, and scarcity has aggravated the problem for them. People in Paraj are left with no other option but to use these contaminated and unhygienic water sources for drinking and water collected in mine pits for bathing, resulting in higher rate of skin diseases in this region. Mining operations in the region, apart from affecting the general surface structure of the region by means of huge overburden dumps and pit holes like lunar craters, is also disturbing the underground as well as stream flow in the region. This disturbance results into collection of water in mine sump or pit holes created by abandoned open cast mines instead of flowing into natural ponds or streams. Fortunately, many of the coal deposits are not associated with pyrite, and acid mine drainage is not a severe problem. However, there are a few mines with acid mine drainage problems, a significant example being the coal mines in Meghalaya. The Jaintia Hills district of Meghalaya is a major coal producing area with an estimated coal reserve of about 40 million tons. Sutunga, Lakadong, Museang, Lamare, Clearit, Loksi, Ledrimpai, Rimbai, Bairvai, Chirmang, Bapung, Jarain, Skentlang, Lumshong, Sakhinpur are the main coal bearing areas of the district. The coal in the area is found embedded in sedimentary rocks, sandstones and shale of the Eocene age. The three coal seams vary from 30 to 212 centimeters in thickness. The main characteristics of the coal found in Jaintia Hills are its low ash content, high volatile matter, high calorific value and comparatively high sulfur content. Large-scale denudation of forest cover, scarcity of water, pollution of air, water and soil degradation of agricultural lands are some of the conspicuous environmental implications of coal mining. Besides caving in of the ground and subsidence of land and haphazard dumping of coal and overburden has deteriorated the aesthetic beauty of the landscape. The water in coal mining area has been found highly acidic. The pH of streams and rivers varies between 2.31 to 4.01. This indicates a serious condition of the water bodies of the area that hardly can support any aquatic life such as fish, amphibians and insects. Contamination of acid mine drainage leads to acidity or low pH of the affected water bodies. Acidic water is a matter of primary concern since it can directly be injurious to aquatic organisms. It also facilitates leaching of toxic metals into the water that could be hazardous to aquatic life directly or can disturb the habitat after precipitation. Most of the water bodies in the coal mining area of Jaintia Hills has been found containing high concentration of various metals. Many metals, though common, can be toxic to fish and other aquatic organisms, thus reducing the overall fish population. Besides, water was also found turbid and colored due to suspended precipitates of iron hydroxides, silt, fine sand, mud, coal dust and similar materials from covering over the bottom and disrupt the benthic habitat. In addition, they reduce the availability of oxygen and light for aquatic life. Dissolved oxygen is essential for sustaining higher life forms in water. It is an important parameter to assess water quality. Dissolved oxygen was found to be low in water bodies of coal mining areas, the lowest being 4.24 mg per liter in river Ravaka and stream Metinka of Rimbai. Impact on air quality. Surface coal mining creates more air pollution problems with respect to dust than underground mining. An investigation was conducted by Professor Ghosh and Dr. Maji to evaluate the characteristic of the airborne dust created by surface coal mining in the Jaria coal field. Work zone air quality monitoring was conducted at 6 locations and ambient air quality monitoring was conducted at 5 locations for a period of 1 year. Total suspended particulate matter concentration was found to be as high as 3723 microgram per cubic meter. Respirable particulate matter PM10 780 microgram per cubic meter and benzene soluble matter was up to 32% in TSP in work zone air. In ambient air, the average maximum level of TSP was 837 microgram per cubic meter. PM10 was 170 microgram per cubic meter and benzene soluble matter was up to 30%. Particle size analysis of TSP revealed that there were more respirable in nature and the median diameter was around 20 micron. Work zone air was found to have higher levels of TSP, PM10 and benzene soluble materials than ambient air. They concluded that more stringent air quality standards should be adopted for coal mining areas and due consideration should be given on particle size distribution of the airborne dust while designing control equipment. The Comptroller and Auditor General, while evaluating the environmental situation in the iron ore mining area of Bellary, found respiratory diseases have dramatically increased because of poor air quality. The problem with air quality in small stone quarries and crushes used for building materials has become a huge problem with a large number of workers suffering from the deadly disease of silicosis. Brief conclusion. The mining activities in India are causing severe ecological degradation and affecting health of workers and people around the mining areas. Unless stringent regulations are implemented, the damage will be irreversible. The ecosystem have only certain levels of resilience and when stretched beyond this, they cannot. Rolling hota bol. Hello. As we were discussing just now, mining has devastating social and environmental impacts. To understand how mining affects our environment, let's watch this very short video. Are there significant impacts of mining? Thanks.